Everyone thought she was just another quiet transfer student. But that day, when the loud smack echoed through the hallway, nobody expected the girl who always kept her head down to be the one who would leave the toughest bully screaming on the floor, clutching his broken elbow. Alina Khan had only been at Jefferson High for 3 days. She barely talked. Walked with her head low. Always wore a gray hoodie that seemed 2 sizes too big. Most students just glanced at her, made quick assumptions, and moved on. But not Brandon. Brandon liked attention. And he got it by humiliating people. Whether it was mocking someone's accent, tripping kids in the cafeteria, or snatching lunchboxes just for laughs, he ruled the hallways with fear and a cruel smile. And when he saw Alina alone at her locker that morning, he saw a new opportunity. "You lost, little girl," he sneered, slapping the books out of her hand. Alina didn't say a word. "Oh, she's mute now." He laughed, looking around for an audience. A few students chuckled nervously. Then, out of nowhere, slap. Brandon smacked her across the face. Gasps filled the hallway. A girl screamed. A boy dropped his phone. Even Brandon looked shocked at what he'd just done. Alina's hand slowly reached for her cheek. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She simply whispered, "That was your last mistake." It happened so fast. 1 second Brandon was towering over her, grinning. The next, crack. Alina had spun his arm, twisted his elbow backward, and pinned him to the ground in a blur of precision. He screamed as the sharp bend in his elbow snapped under pressure. Everyone froze. Brandon. The untouchable. The fearless. Now on the floor, crying like a child. The teacher finally burst through the hallway doors just as Alina stepped back, arms raised in surrender, her face calm but trembling slightly. Later that day, Alina sat in the principal's office with her mother, Dr. Mariam Khan. "I trained her to defend herself. Never to hurt anyone unless it's necessary," her mother said calmly. "She spent years learning discipline. Years in martial arts academies. We just moved here because of my army transfer. She didn't come to start trouble. But I'll not raise a daughter who stands still while someone abuses her." The principal, unsure whether to suspend her or thank her, stayed quiet. The news spread like wildfire. Videos, whispers, stunned faces in the hallway. People now saw her differently. But Alina never cared for fame. The truth was, she hadn't always been this strong. Back in her last school, things had been worse. Bullies had locked her in janitor closets. They used to call her Ghost Girl because she barely spoke English then. They'd ripped her notebooks, poured milk on her head, and worst of all, laughed when she cried. But she never told her mom. She never told anyone. Until the day she broke down in her bedroom and her mother held her tightly and said, "Never let anyone define who you are. Let them try. But train yourself. Be so strong they don't dare touch you again." From that day on, Alina trained. Her mornings began at 5 a.m. with drills. Her evenings ended with shadowboxing and strength routines. Her body became stronger, but more importantly, her soul did too. Back at Jefferson High, things began to change. Some students tried to befriend her, while others kept their distance, still unsure. Brandon's arm was in a cast for 2 months. He never dared look her in the eyes again. And the school. They quietly enforced a stronger anti-bullying policy after the incident. But Alina didn't become popular. She didn't suddenly smile in the hallways or join cheer squad. She remained who she was, calm, quiet, and deadly when pushed too far. A few weeks later, a younger boy was being shoved around in the stairwell. Alina passed by quietly. The boy looked up at her, tears brimming in his eyes. Please," he whispered. Alina sighed. She walked toward the group and simply said, "Do you really want to make the same mistake Brandon did?" The bullies paused. Then walked away. Alina bent down, helped the boy pick up his books, and walked him to class without saying much. In the end, she didn't fight to hurt people. She fought to protect herself. And later, to protect others. Because some girls break down in the face of bullying. And some. They break the system. One elbow at a time. Moral of the story. Strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it walks silently, until it's forced to speak.